Welcome to another episode of the Volleyball Academy. Right from the start, we'd like to give a big thank you to everyone supporting us on Patreon. You can find the link in the description. We put maximum effort into creating this show, and without your support, maintaining the quality you've come to expect simply wouldn't be possible. Thank you.
But now, let's get to volleyball. We've covered several episodes on blocking, but defense isn't just about forming a solid wall at the net. It's also about quick, almost instinctive digging. At the Paris Olympics, the Japanese team showcased their mastery of this skill to the world.
The secret to successful backcourt play and digging hard-driven balls lies in the preparation, movement before the play, and proper positioning. A player has only a few opportunities to make contact with the ball in a 2-hour match. Yet the game is full of preparatory and strategic movements that often don't result in direct ball contact. To an untrained observer, these movements might seem unnecessary. But they are anything but unnecessary. On the contrary, they are a crucial prerequisite for success. These movements allow players to effectively handle the opponent's attack and prepare for a counterattack. Whether it's defending against powerful spikes, as masterfully demonstrated by the Chinese women's team, or the precise handling of so-called free balls, where we see one of the best liberos in the world, Frenchman Grebennikov, in action. In short, anyone who wants to excel at backcourt defense must accept that the game is full of subtle, almost anonymous movements that often go unnoticed and unappreciated by teammates.
Digging a spike is based on the fundamental forearm pass, which we have already discussed in previous episodes on digging, as well as in the segment on serve reception, particularly against jump serves. There is no single universal technique, but rather a wide range of forearm passing variations and different footwork patterns. And while we ultimately realize that digging is primarily about reading the game and anticipating plays, thousands of repetitions in training and matches are essential. It is this relentless drilling and the sheer number of successful and unsuccessful attempts that form the foundation of mastery. A key factor in defensive play is, once again, the speed of the incoming ball. The ball reaches the defender from the spiker's hand faster than a player can consciously react. This highlights the importance of automatic movement patterns that trigger independently of conscious thought, developed over years of practice. This is why, at times, the forearm pass may not look perfect, as we can see with Italy's Gianelli. Sometimes the priority is simply to keep the ball in play by any means necessary. Of course, we teach proper technique, but given the speed of the ball, a pragmatic approach prevails, keeping the ball in play at all costs.
We talk about thousands of repetitions, but how do players accumulate the necessary number of contacts? Our advice is simple: don't waste time. Even during partner warm-ups, there is no need for soft hits. Once boys and girls develop proper control, we encourage them to spike hard and from a jump. This alone provides them with 30 to 50 ball contacts they wouldn't get during the rest of the training session. The most ball contacts occur in partner drills, but these must closely resemble real game conditions.
We have previously discussed body positioning. The key is for the player to be in a stance that allows further movement adjustments according to the play. Remember? Knees positioned ahead of the toes, shoulders aligned with the knees. And, of course, the essential split step, which we will discuss again today.
When teaching young children how to dig and execute proper falling techniques in previous lessons, we couldn't spike hard at them. But by the ages of 12 or 13, this becomes possible. A useful introductory drill is catching a hard-driven ball. In this demonstration, we see that the player's legs remained passive after the split step. This is why the ball lands just next to her and she fails to react. We must immediately focus on footwork to ensure her movements become active, just like these other players, even if only through micro-adjustments.
This brings us to footwork. Let's recall that the foundation of movement is the split step, which serves as a launch point for subsequent micro-movements. Against a spike, the split step must happen earlier than against a serve because the distance between the attacker and the defender is shorter, leaving less reaction time. Again, we see what happens when the split step is missing. It leads to passive footwork, which logically results in a missed dig. Here, the split step is present, but the player finishes on their heels, which is disadvantageous for digging. This position reduces the ability to react quickly and move dynamically. In training, we sometimes use mats to visually define the defensive area and help players become more aware of their positioning on the court.
This principle applies primarily to forearm digging. However, we already know from previous lessons that a defender must cover a much larger area, utilizing overhead digging techniques as well. That's why we teach young players to behave like goalkeepers, always ready to make contact with the ball, using any available technique. Their role model was Milan Monique, the first ever libero of the Czech national volleyball team, whose expertise posed a great challenge to young players during joint training sessions.
One of the fundamental individual drills is repeated attacking from an elevated position. Its advantage is precise ball placement and a high number of contacts for the defender. However, the downside is that the defender does not have to analyze the situation, but merely reacts mechanically. For this reason, it is crucial to teach children and beginner players to spike after their own toss as early as possible. This ties directly into learning the jump serve, as discussed in episodes 25 and 26. In these situations, the player must evaluate the ball's trajectory based on their approach and the attacker's point of contact.
Remember, there are dozens of variations of digging drills, but they all share a single objective: maximizing ball contacts. We often combine digging against an elevated attack with digging after a self-tossed ball. We also design drills to delay the reaction time, creating conditions even more challenging than in actual gameplay. In one such drill, we limit the player's reaction time by having them keep their eyes closed, opening them only on a signal at the moment of the attack.
Finally, as always, a short recap. Today we focused on digging from a player's perspective. We emphasize preparatory movements before the actual ball contact, refreshed our knowledge of the split step, and revisited the proper body position for digging. We discussed the role of catching the ball in the training process, the timing of the split step, and introduced additional drills for developing this skill.
What's coming up next? Since no player defends alone, we will start working on team defense training. We will focus on defensive cooperation and tackle the most important aspect: reading the game in coordination with single and double blocks. This will help us build a more comprehensive understanding of defensive play as a whole. At the end, we will also touch on coverage of our own attackers.